Evening, everybody. It is 6:06 p.m. on this Tuesday afternoon, the 19th of December, and this is your closing comment video number 2014. So, it's getting boring. We've had this before. Very specifically, we had this in the last 2 or 2.5 months of 2021. And in point of fact, that did not work out well for us in 2022, where they practically flipped the switch at the turn of the calendar and the markets just collapsed. But today we were again higher. The Dow was up 251, Nasdaq up 98, and the S&P was up 2781. Those numbers were all roughly the same as a percentage, right around that 65.65%. The Russell was the big winner again. It was up about 37. It closed at 2020, and just a gentle reminder, even though it was up 1.9%, it is still 19% below its all time high in that last quarter of 2021. The transports were up 141.60, or 0.9%. Volume was 5.7, which is slightly above average and pretty strong for this time of the year. Advanced declines were 4-1 on the NYSE and 2.7-1 on NASDAQ. So there are still some big names doing the majority of the lifting here. As far as futures go, we had corn and soybeans both down. We had the wheat slightly higher. I still really like this wheat trade, and I'm still looking for a place to get in. Oil was up. Now, yesterday, when I didn't have any power, I didn't have the opportunity to really see this. But yesterday, the oil had a huge range, 70.99 to 74.61, and we closed a lot closer to the low than the high. Today, we had a higher high and a lower low. Yesterday's high being 74.61, today's being 74.45. But today, we closed up another $1.12 and much closer to the high than the low. So I'm not really sure what's going to go on here. The gold was up again. Yesterday it was up. Today it was up. Today it was up 1160, and this still continues to look very constructive to me, having pulled back, pretty much to the point of breakout last week. This is a daily chart, and then turned and bounced right up, a little bit of a flag to the downside, and today's close of 2052.10 is actually higher than the high close here at 2035. The highest close there is 2044.90, so 2045. So we go through this again, and my guess is we're going to get into this 21-21.20 area before we see another break back down to the downside to test these areas, this 2050 in particular. As far as the rest of the markets go, let's just give you a look. Silver was up. Copper was basically unchanged. Platinum was up big. Actually, platinum was down. Palladium was up pretty big here. In the softs, the cotton is up, but it's pretty depressed down here. We were watching this, I believe, at around $1.10. So 79 cents is a long way down. Yeah, here we were 90 cents. And let's go to the weekly, get a little better look. And on the weekly, yep, we were actually up as high as $1.60. this $1.20 was a test that failed, and another move down to 70. So now we've been consolidating pretty much between 77 and 87, and so we'll have to see what that looks like. Looks like it's trying to bottom here, but we have not seen it confirmed in the MACD. Um, Coffee was higher. Sugar continues to just wallow down here around 21 cents. Um, the dollar 101.80, down about 38 cents. Bitcoin was kind of interesting. It got up as high as 43,680 and closed at 42,360. So that's a full 1,500 points, or yeah, 1,300 points off the high. Ethereum was actually down. The bonds are now down. They were up. They were down a half a point. They're down another couple of ticks. So nothing overwhelming there. As far as earnings after the close, and from this morning, we had Accenture this morning trading at 235, down 665. It worked its way all the way back to close the day at 341 and a half, and that was down 34 cents after being down six and change. We have FedEx, which was absolutely a mess. They missed top line, they missed bottom line. Some of their margins were horrendous. The stock had closed, it had been as high as 283. At the close, it was 280, down $1.92. But in the late trade, it has gotten down to 254.61, and the last is 254.75, down 27.30 about, and that's down 9.72%. A look at the UPS shows some attendant weakness. It had closed 161.62, and that was up a nickel on the day. It has now come down and is trading 156.65, and that is down just under $5 and just under 3%. This one reported some time ago. It's not due to report again until January the 30th. Tomorrow we have mortgage apps at 7 o'clock. At 8:30 we have current account balance. At 10 o'clock, November existing home sales, looking to be, consensus is 3.8 million. The prior number is 3.79, so really not looking for much there. 10 o'clock, we have December consumer confidence. It's looking to be 104. The prior is 102. We have crude inventories at 10:30, and at 1 o'clock, we have another $13 billion 20-year bond deal. All right, folks, I'll be back first thing in the morning. It's good to be back with power and the ability to watch this stuff. By the way, we closed out our trade in the Pfizer calls bought between 51 and 67. We closed the first half out this morning at $1.34 on the 100% up trade, and then we sold the balance at $1.60 this afternoon, primarily because this is where the bottom of the gap was when it moved to the downside, and I would expect it to have a little bit of a problem moving through there, considering that it in the last 4 or 5 days has gone from a low of 26.73 to today's high 28.24. So we were so far in the money that these would be point for point on the downside, and that was not a risk I wanted to take. Have a good evening. I will be back tomorrow.